What is the reason that despite being the world's largest oil producer, America cannot use its own oil? This is just like a person growing wheat on his own land, but having to beg before others for his own consumption. In the world we live in, whatever appears on the surface, reality is often opposite to it. Similarly, every year, millions of containers go from China to America. But why are they thrown into the trash there? And amidst all this, why and how does Iran smuggle Boeing 777s? Welcome once again to Broken Veneer's videos. Do you know that at any given time, there are around 300,000 ships in the ocean? Among these are oil tankers, LPG-laying carriers, tugboats, and passenger ships, along with those ships with whose help the wheel of the world's economy runs, container ships. 90% of global trade relies on sea routes. According to estimates, every passing minute, 6,000 to 8,000 container ships are traveling in the ocean with the help of the automatic identification system. Nowadays, they can also be tracked in real time. If you go to websites like Marine Traffic or Vessel Finder, you will see the entire ocean filled with tiny lights. Every light is a massive ship loaded with millions of dollars worth of goods. Most of these container ships are vessels that originate from China and go from Europe to America. The surprising thing is that on average, every vessel has 5,000 containers. So according to this calculation, 40 million containers are traveling in the ocean at all times. From our clothes to mobile phones, everything has reached us by traveling in these very containers at some point. On the surface, everything seems normal. Goods came from one side and empty containers went back from the other side. But the reality is far more astonishing and concerning. The balance of our world's trade is completely distorted. China sells so much goods to the world that a flood of filled containers emerges from it. If we talk about 2023 alone, China's trade surplus was more than 823 billion, meaning in that same year, China exported goods worth 3,380 billion and imported goods worth 2,557 billion. That is how 823 billion remained as the surplus. The problem starts when the containers departing from China reach America or Europe, where China's surplus is 823 billion. The whole of Europe combined has only 41 billion, meaning 95% less than China. But when these same containers reach America, everything here is out of balance. America is the world's largest consumer, meaning there is no balance between import and export here. America imports more and exports less, which means that while more containers go there, there isn't enough goods to send back from there. Out of the containers arriving at U.S. ports, only 40% go back filled. So the question arises, where do the remaining 60% containers go? You might think that the remaining containers return empty, but that is not the case. Those containers are rotting in junkyards across America. This happens because sending an empty container back to China costs approximately $3,000. And besides this empty box occupies space on the ship where a filled container could go one containing millions of dollars worth of goods. This is the very reason why China doesn't even feel the need for a $3,000 used container, because China manufactures that same container again for $2,000. Every year, 2.5 million new containers are built, while there is no shortage of old containers either. So now the question arises, what is ultimately done with the empty containers stuck in the US and Europe? Many containers are sold for cheap storage or construction sites. Nowadays, houses and offices are also built from them, and when nothing else remains, they are melted down to extract steel. Because one container has roughly 2 tons of steel, next time you pass by a port and see steel containers stacked on top of each other there, remember that this is not just trash, but a unique story of the world's distorted economy. Now let's come to that question, which perplexes even the wisest minds. Why is America the world's largest oil producer, yet it cannot use its own oil? Looking at the world map, America is currently #1 in oil production. Even Saudi Arabia and Russia are behind it. But the astonishing thing is that despite extracting so much oil, America is also the world's second largest oil importer, meaning it sells its own oil and buys from others for its own use. 3 major secrets are hidden behind this. The very first reason is the difference in oil chemistry. Not all oil is the same. The oil extracted from America's ground is called light crude oil. This is light oil with low viscosity. But the problem is that America's old refineries were built to refine heavy crude oil. These refineries were built at a time when America used to import thick oil from Mexico and Venezuela. Now, if they want to refine their own light oil, they will have to change the entire technology, which will cost over $200 billion. Instead of spending so much money, they sell their light oil to the world at a high price and buy heavy crude oil from outside at cheaper rates. But oil chemistry alone does not force America to do this. The second reason is the logistics crisis. In America, oil is extracted in one place, while the refineries are very far away. For example, Texas has an entire ocean of oil, but there are no pipelines to transport oil from there to New York or the East Coast. As for California, its situation is such that it has become an oil island, where due to the lack of pipelines, they are forced to import 70% of their oil from foreign countries. Although these two reasons alone were enough, the final nail in the coffin was driven by the Jones Act. In World War I, a major issue arose in transporting American soldiers and cargo across the ocean. America did not have enough of its own ships to take its soldiers across the sea. So, while they took the help of ships and sailors from other countries, a new threat emerged here. If America ever ended up fighting with friendly nations, they wouldn't have trained sailors in ships of their own to move their soldiers. There was only one solution to this problem. America should have its own merchant marine ships that normally transport cargo, but when needed can be converted into war mode. Following this, Senator Wesley Jones introduced a bill according to which, to send goods from one U.S. port to another, it is mandatory that the ship must be American and its crew must also be American. Now, because building sea ships in America is 3 times more expensive compared to China, and sailors' salaries are also higher there, this law backfired on them. To transport oil from Texas to New York, America has only a handful of ships left, and their rental cost is so high that it adds $5 to every barrel of oil. That is why American refineries feel that if they leave their own oil and import oil from foreign countries, it will still turn out cheaper for them. A law that was made to save America is slowly consuming America from the inside. These are those strange reasons why America, despite being the world's largest oil producer, remains dependent on others. Moving away from America's dependency, if we talk about Iran's predicament, America has imposed sanctions on Iran for years. Due to these sanctions, Iran can neither buy nor sell anything from America and friends of America. But in Iran's Mahan Air, you will see a large fleet of American and European aircraft. So the question arises here: how does Iran actually smuggle Boeing 777s? In 2024-25, Iran left the world astonished when 5 Boeing 777 aircraft suddenly appeared in their possession. All this became possible through years of planning. In Australia, in the Alice Springs Desert, there is a massive airplane graveyard on which Iran had set its eyes. 5 old but usable Boeing 777s of Singapore Airlines were parked there. Iran could not buy those planes directly, so through an American-based company named Iron Aviation, these planes were purchased. Then, these planes were taken to China, from where they were sold to a fake company in Madagascar named Odon Aviation. These companies had no real existence. They existed only on paper to avoid U.S. scrutiny. Once the aircraft were registered under the flag of Madagascar, the control of America's Federal Aviation Administration ended. Then, these aircraft were brought to Cambodia. Cambodia is a country where aviation rules are not so strict. Here, these aircraft vanished from the eyes of the world. In July 2025, these aircraft filed a flight plan to travel from Cambodia to Kenya. It was shown that they were going to Kenya for maintenance, but as soon as they reached Afghanistan's airspace, where Taliban's monitoring is quite weak, they turned off their transponders. After disappearing from radar, instead of going to Kenya, these planes changed course and landed in various cities of Iran, Chabahar, Zahedan, and Mashhad. By the time the world could figure it out, these 5 Boeing 777s had become part of Iran's Mahan air fleet. America could do nothing now because all the American companies buying and selling were registered under fake names. Today, Mahan Air has an active fleet of 50 to 60 aircraft, most of which are Airbuses, while 7 are also planes from the American company Boeing. These planes land in other countries as well and use their airspace. But America can do nothing because, according to Chicago Convention law, unless a country is in a state of war with another, it cannot stop civilian aircraft from using its airspace, nor can it stop them from landing. But due to sanctions, many countries do not grant refueling permission to Mahan air flights. If Europe or Friends of America stop the Iranian airline from using their airspace, Iran can also close its airspace to their aircraft. And if that happens, flights going from the Middle East to Europe will have to suffer significant losses. Hope you guys will also heavily like and share this video of broken Veneer. See you in the next spectacular video.